So if we move into the New Testament era, did the Jews always keep to those 4 grounds, which were sexual immorality, neglect of food, clothing and conjugal love?
Well, those grounds were very important, and we find the rabbis talking about them and deciding exactly what they meant. But by the time you get to Jesus, they've almost disappeared, because there's a new kid on the block, there's a new way of divorce, which became very, very popular, which the rabbis found in the Old Testament among the texts which are talking about divorce. They invented a new type of divorce.
How did they invent this new kind of divorce?
Well, they can't invent any new law, of course, they can't invent any new scripture. But what lawyers do is take words apart and peel back the layers. And they managed to do that with the text in Deuteronomy. They tore a phrase into 2 and managed to make it into 2 grounds for divorce.
So can we have a look at what they changed?
Here we have the English of Deuteronomy 24 in the NIV. He writes for a certificate of divorce. If he finds something indecent about her, this phrase, something indecent, is based on a couple of rather difficult Hebrew words, evat devar. Here it is in the Hebrew interlinear, so you can see it clearly, a disgrace of a thing. Evat being nakedness of, that's the construct case there. And then devar just being a thing, a matter, a cause. It's a fairly general word, but in legal terms it means a cause, a ground.
How on earth did they invent a new form of divorce out of those words?
Well, they said to themselves, well, evat means nakedness, so that's adultery, and that leaves the word devar doing nothing much. So let's make something out of this word by itself. So they said you can have a divorce for nakedness, i.e. immorality, indecency.
Adultery
in particular. Or you can have a divorce for a thing, a matter, a cause. And when they said, well, what sort of thing, what sort of cause, they said, well, it doesn't say exactly, it's anything, any cause.
Okay.
And they invented this new any cause divorce. Of course, their rivals, they said, well, look, you can't argue like that, because otherwise why on earth do you have this word about adultery? Why do you have this word indecency there? It's completely superfluous in that case if you can get divorced for anything. And they said, well, that's because if there's adultery, then you have to get divorced. But if there's a thing, well, you can get divorced. So you've got 2 different, completely separate laws just out of that one phrase.
Well, that is quite a change. What sort of evidence did you need to get an any cause or cause divorce?
Well, that's the great thing about the any cause divorce. You don't need any evidence. Of course, there should be a cause, there should be something, but it can be a burnt dinner, or it can be that she's got some wrinkles that she didn't have when you first married her. So there's no need to bring in evidence to a court or to prove your point. You just have to say, right, I'm giving you a divorce, dear. What for? Well, anything, any cause.
Okay.
And there's no need to go into court, there's no need for the neighbours to know about it. So in some senses, the women liked it too. Also, because you got an any cause divorce, the woman would always have her marriage contract back, her ketuvah, her marriage dowry. It's a lump of money which a woman would get if she was being divorced for something which wasn't down to her. And of course, with the any cause divorce, she always got that lump of money. So the women liked it as well as the men. They didn't have to air their grievances in public, and so they got enough money to, well, sort of live on.